Welcome to The Explainer. Let's dive right into this fascinating chapter on the structural organization of animals. Today, we're unpacking the biological blueprint of a true evolutionary marvel, the frog. By looking closely at how this specific organism is put together, we get a really profound understanding of how complex life actually functions. It's literally a masterclass in biological engineering, and we're going to break the whole thing down. Here's our roadmap for today. We're moving from cells to systems, looking at morphology and survival, digestion and respiration, circulation and control, excretion and reproduction, and finally, their ecological importance. Let's get into it. Section 1. From cells to systems, the building blocks of complex life. Think about a single-celled microbe for a second. That one tiny cell does absolutely everything: digestion, respiration, reproduction. But in complex multicellular animals like a frog or, us, you've got millions or even billions of cells. And the crucial point here is that these cells don't just act randomly. They organize into these highly efficient specialized groups called tissues, complete with intercellular substances to really divide up the labor. And this creates an incredibly beautiful macro to micro hierarchy. Cells build tissues. Those basic tissues, epithelial, connective, muscular, and neural, organize in specific patterns to build organs, like a heart or a stomach. Then those organs interact chemically and physically to form complete organ systems that split up the work. It's this exact division of labor that keeps the entire body surviving as a single, cohesive whole. Section 2. Frog Morphology and Survival. A perfectly adapted biological machine. Meet our main subject today, the Indian bullfrog, known scientifically as Rana tigrina. Now, if you've ever actually held a frog, you know its skin is smooth and slippery because of mucus glands that keep it constantly moist. But here is a truly wild fact. Frogs literally never drink water. Instead, that highly specialized skin absorbs all the hydration they need directly from their environment. Also, check out those webbed hind limbs. They're way larger and more muscular than the front ones, perfectly engineered for leaping on land and swimming in water. Plus, their bulging eyes are protected by a special nicticating membrane so they can see underwater. Of course, survival isn't just about movement. It's about enduring the environment. Frogs are poikilotherms, meaning they're cold-blooded, so their internal body temperature fluctuates right along with the outside weather. To survive, they rely heavily on camouflage to hide from predators. But when extreme summer heat or freezing winter cold hits, they employ these fascinating survival strategies: estivation, which is summer sleep, and hibernation for winter sleep. They basically tuck themselves into deep burrows and just wait out the extreme temperatures safely. And before we jump into the internal anatomy, it's pretty cool to note that frogs exhibit distinct sexual dimorphism. That just means you can visually tell males from females based on their external features. Males have these unique sound-producing vocal sacs and specialized copulatory pads on the first digit of their forelimbs. You absolutely will not find those features on female frogs. Section 3. Digestion and Respiration. Fueling the machine on land and in water. All right, looking inside, the frog's body cavity is tightly packed with distinct systems. Take a look at the digestive tract. Notice that the alimentary canal is surprisingly short? Well, there's a good reason for that. Frogs are strict carnivores. They simply don't need the massive, lengthy intestines that herbivores require to break down tough plant matter. Let's actually trace the path of their food. First, prey gets snagged by a sticky, bilobed tongue. It moves through the buccal cavity, down a short tube called the esophagus, and right into the stomach. There, hydrochloric acid and gastric juices get to work on digestion. This partially digested food, called chyme, moves into the intestine. Here, bile from the gallbladder and enzymes from the pancreas finish the job, while tiny finger-like folds called villi and microvilli absorb all those nutrients. Finally, the waste moves to the rectum and exits through a terminal structure called the cloaca. Keep that structure in mind. We're definitely coming back to it. To turn those absorbed nutrients into actual cellular energy, the frog obviously needs oxygen, and frogs are total evolutionary marvels because they operate in two distinct physical realms, which means they need two different breathing methods. Underwater, they rely completely on cutaneous respiration. Their moist skin acts as a respiratory organ, allowing dissolved oxygen to diffuse straight into their blood. But on land, they switch over to pulmonary respiration, actively pumping air through their nostrils, into their buccal cavity, and down into a pair of pink, sac-like lungs located in their thorax. Section 4. Circulation and Control. pumping life and processing signals. So how is all this oxygen and nutrition distributed? The frog uses a closed-type vascular system driven by a muscular heart. But unlike our four-chambered heart, a frog's heart only has 3 chambers, 2 atria and 1 single ventricle. They also feature specialized venous connections called portal systems. Think of them as direct biological highways that completely bypass the heart to link organs straight together, like the liver to the intestine or the kidneys to the lower body. And here is a real did-you-know moment distinguishing amphibian blood from mammalian blood. Human red blood cells lose their nucleus so they can carry more oxygen, right? Well, the frog's hemoglobin-rich red blood cells are fully nucleated. To coordinate all this complex machinery, the frog uses a dual approach. First up, chemical control via hormones secreted by a whole suite of endocrine glands, like the pituitary and thyroid. Second, a rapid response nervous system. This is heavily organized into a central nervous system, featuring a fore, mid, and hindbrain enclosed in a cranium. Branching out from this brain are 10 pairs of cranial nerves. They're also equipped with specialized sense organs, notably the tympanum on the side of their head, which handles both hearing and equilibrium, along with their simple spherical eyes. Section 5. Excretion and Reproduction, the culmination of the systems tour. Okay, I mentioned it briefly during digestion, but it's time to really focus on it. If there's one crucial feature you remember about amphibian anatomy, it should be the cloaca. Unlike mammals, which generally have separate exits for separate systems, the frog utilizes this single, small, median chamber. It serves as the ultimate shared termination point for the digestive tract, the excretory system passing urine from the kidneys, and the reproductive system passing sperm or ova. But notice how differently the male and female systems actually connect to this cloaca. In the male system, the sperm ducts, known as the vasa efferentia, run right through the kidneys. This means sperm shares a urinogenital duct with urine to exit the body. But in the female system, it's arranged entirely differently. The ovaries have absolutely no functional connection to the kidneys at all. The oviducts carry the ova and open into the cloaca entirely separately from the urinary system. Just look at this number, 2,500 to 3,000. That is the staggering volume of ova a single mature female frog can lay in the water at one time. Because frogs rely on external fertilization, meaning the sperm and egg meet out in the open water rather than inside the body, they really have to play an intense numbers game. They lay thousands of eggs just to ensure enough of them survive the harsh aquatic environment to actually produce the next generation. Section 6. Ecological importance. More than just a biology chapter. Once those thousands of ova are fertilized in the water, they don't simply hatch into tiny little frogs. No, they hatch into water-breathing, swimming larval tadpoles. Over time, they undergo this drastic, rapid, whole-body transformation called metamorphosis. They lose their gills, they develop lungs, they grow limbs. They literally transition from an aquatic herbivore to the complex, land-dwelling carnivorous adults we've been analyzing today. And as adults, their diet primarily consists of insects, making them incredibly beneficial to mankind by protecting our vital crops from insect pests. As we wrap up this explainer and our tour of the frog's internal systems, I really want to leave you with this final thought. We've spent our time looking inward, right? Marveling at how flawlessly these microscopic tissues and macroscopic organs work together in perfect structural organization to sustain the life of the frog. But when we zoom out, we realize the frog itself acts like a vital organ within the larger body of our global ecosystem. Considering their role as crucial links in the food web and as natural pest controllers, we have to ask, what happens to the structural organization of our entire ecosystem if they disappear? How vital is the frog to sustaining us? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. See you next time.